Have you ever felt an itch that just wouldn't go away? Maybe it's on your lower leg, maybe on your back, or somewhere else that seems random. And you told yourself, it's just dry skin, maybe I need a better lotion. You scratched it. You ignored it. You moved on. But what if I told you, that itch, yes, that little nuisance you keep brushing off, might actually be your body waving a red flag? A gentle whisper, warning you that something deeper could be going wrong inside. And you're not alone. So many people over 60, maybe even you or someone close to you, feel these strange itches. They show up in the same spots, again and again. And because they seem so harmless, we let them slip through the cracks. We blame the weather, the laundry detergent, old age. It's probably nothing. But what if it is something? What if those itchy spots are signs of something your doctor should know about? Something that, if left unchecked, could quietly affect your health, your comfort, even shorten your life? This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. Because knowledge is power. And after 60, power looks like peace of mind. It looks like knowing what to look for before it's too late. It looks like catching a warning sign while you still have time to act. In this video, we're going to talk about 4 specific itchy spots on the body that might mean something serious is going on beneath the surface. These aren't your everyday itches. They're the kind that could point to liver issues, circulation problems, even cancer, and you'll want to stay with me to the end, because one of them is often missed even by doctors. By the time we're done, you'll not only know what to watch out for, you'll feel more prepared, more informed, more confident about how to protect yourself and the people you love. So, if you're ready to dive deeper into the quiet signs your body might be trying to show you, if you want to take care of your health, or help someone else live a longer, more comfortable life, comment "I'm here" down below, let me know you're watching. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Guide, where we share simple, powerful insights to help you care smarter and love better every step of the way. Alright. Let's get into it. Let's start with one of the most common, and most overlooked, itchy spots, the lower legs. Now picture this. Margaret is 72. Every evening, she sits down to relax, maybe puts her feet up after a long day, and like clockwork, she starts scratching at her shins. Nothing too dramatic, just a soft rub here, a little scratch there. Her daughter sees it and casually says, "Mom, it's probably the cold weather. Your skin's just dry." So they buy lotion. Then a thicker one. Then one of those expensive ones from the pharmacy shelf. But the itch doesn't go away. Months later, Margaret is diagnosed with peripheral artery disease. A condition that was quietly building in her body, cutting off healthy blood flow to her lower limbs. And the itching? That was the first sign. You see, itching on the lower legs, especially around the shins or ankles, can be a subtle clue that blood isn't flowing the way it should. And in seniors, this is more common than you think. As we age, our circulation naturally slows down, especially if we're dealing with conditions like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or diabetes. When blood isn't reaching the lower legs effectively, the skin starts to react. It becomes dry, thin, itchy. But here's the thing, no lotion in the world can fix a circulation problem. That's where so many people get it wrong. We treat the surface, when the issue is deep inside the veins. And because the itch doesn't scream or swell or shout for attention, we shrug it off. We think, it's probably just aging. We wait. We watch. We do nothing. But here's a gentle reminder, itching that lingers, especially when it returns daily, deserves a closer look. Especially if it comes with other small clues. Have you noticed numbness in the feet? Do your legs feel colder than the rest of your body, or look paler than usual? Are your toenails growing slower? Little things. But they matter. The good news is, there are simple ways to help. Encourage movement throughout the day, even short walks around the house. Support healthy blood flow with light stretching. And if the itching doesn't ease up, or if any of those other symptoms pop up, don't wait. Talk to your doctor and ask if they can check circulation in your legs. A quick test could prevent a much bigger problem down the line. Because with conditions like peripheral artery disease, the sooner you catch it, the better the outcome. Early care can mean the difference between managing it with lifestyle changes, or facing much more serious complications later on. And while leg itching is often ignored or brushed off as nothing, the next itchy spot we're going to talk about, it's even more deceptive. It often hides under the surface. And it could be your body's first cry for help from the liver. Your palms, and the soles of your feet. Let me tell you about George. He's 68. A proud grandfather, loves working in his little backyard garden, keeps it tidy, grows his own tomatoes, even shares his harvest with the neighbors. One day, he starts noticing an odd itch in his palms. Nothing wild, just a constant, annoying tingle, like something crawling just beneath the skin. He chalks it up to soil irritation. Maybe a bug bite. Maybe the soap he uses to wash his hands after gardening. But weeks go by. Then months. And the itch doesn't go away. Then one morning, George notices something strange. His eyes look a bit yellow. His urine's darker than usual. And the fatigue? It's like a fog he can't shake. Turns out, it wasn't the gardening. It was his liver, quietly struggling. And that itch? That was the first whisper that something was wrong. Here's what's happening inside the body, when the liver isn't working properly, due to conditions like fatty liver disease, hepatitis, or even bile duct issues. Bile starts to build up in the bloodstream. Now bile is something your body normally gets rid of easily. But when it accumulates, it starts to irritate nerve endings, especially in the skin. And the areas that feel it the most? The palms of your hands and the soles of your feet. This is one of the more uncomfortable, and emotionally frustrating, types of itch. It often feels deep, like scratching the surface doesn't help. There's usually no rash, no redness, no peeling, just this strange, ongoing itch that no cream can fix. And here's the thing. Most people, and even some well-meaning family members, assume it's just an allergic reaction, or maybe eczema acting up. But when it doesn't go away, and no visible irritation shows on the skin, that's your cue to dig deeper. So, what should you look out for? Start with the eyes. Do they seem yellow-tinged? Notice any dark urine that looks almost like tea or cola? Any unusual fatigue, even after resting? These are classic signs that the liver is under stress. And the itching on the hands and feet, that's your early warning system. If you, or someone you love, are experiencing this, the first step is simple but crucial: request a liver function test. It's a basic blood test, but it can reveal so much about what's going on inside. In the meantime, try to avoid things that put extra strain on the liver, like alcohol, fatty foods, or certain medications without a doctor's guidance. Drink water, stay active, and don't ignore that itch just because it doesn't come with a rash. Because when your liver speaks, it doesn't shout. It itches. And now that you know what that means, you're in a better position to listen. The next spot? Upper back. A spot that almost no one suspects at first. Especially that stubborn area right between your shoulder blades. If you've ever tried to reach an itch there, you know how frustrating it can be. But let me tell you a story that might make you think twice about brushing that itch off as nothing. Susan is 74. She's active, still drives herself to church every Sunday, still cooks for her grandkids. But for weeks, she's been dealing with this odd, nagging itch right in the middle of her upper back. She tries using a back scratcher. She changes her laundry detergent. She even asks her daughter to rub in some anti-itch cream at night. Nothing helps. She figures it must be dry skin or maybe some kind of reaction to the new sweater she bought. But then, she starts noticing something else. After eating certain meals, especially anything greasy or fried, she feels bloated. Uncomfortable. And that itch between her shoulder blades? It flares up right after she eats. Eventually, she tells her doctor. They run a few tests. And to her surprise, it's not her back. It's her gallbladder. Here's what most people don't realize. That spot between your shoulder blades is what doctors sometimes call a referred pain zone. That means when something is wrong deep inside the body, especially with organs like the liver or gallbladder, the discomfort doesn't always show up where you expect it to. Instead, your nervous system redirects that discomfort somewhere else on the body. And in this case, one of the most common places is the upper back, especially between the shoulder blades. So, when your gallbladder is irritated, maybe due to stones, inflammation, or even early signs of disease, it can trigger an itch or discomfort that feels like it's coming from the back. Now of course, sometimes an itch is just an itch. But when it's persistent, when it won't go away, even with creams, ointments, or scratching, and especially when it shows up after eating fatty foods, that's your cue. It might not be your skin at all. It might be your organs trying to send a message. Most people assume upper back itching is caused by poor posture, or maybe the dry air in winter. And that's understandable, it's a logical first guess. But when it's deep, when it's recurring, when nothing seems to help, don't ignore it. What can you do? Start by paying attention to when it happens. Does it get worse after eating fried foods? Butter? Creamy sauces? Keep a little log, even just a note in your phone, and share it with your doctor during your next checkup. And remember, you don't have to wait for pain to take action. Sometimes the body whispers before it screams. And if you listen early, you give yourself the best chance at catching something before it becomes serious. Now, we've talked about the legs, the hands and feet, and the back. All places where itching might seem harmless, until you realize what it could really mean. But the last spot we're going to talk about? It's the one most people never expect. It doesn't just itch, it nags, it lingers, and sometimes, it can be the first sign of something far more serious. This final location could be your body trying to warn you about something as serious as cancer. And it's one sign you absolutely should not ignore. The scalp. Sometimes the back of the neck. Places we often dismiss as nothing more than dry skin or a reaction to a new shampoo. But what if I told you that sometimes, those itches can be far more than skin deep? Let me share Eleanor's story with you. She's 70. A retired librarian, known for her gentle spirit and her neat silver bun. Always well put together, clean, organized, even meticulous about her self-care. But for months, Eleanor had been struggling with a strange, relentless itch on her scalp. She changed her shampoo. Then her conditioner. Then she stopped dyeing her hair, just in case. She even stopped using scented soaps. Nothing helped. There were no flakes, no visible rash, no scalp irritation to speak of. Just this deep, persistent, almost maddening itch that would wake her up at night. She scratched so much at one point, she noticed small scabs forming. Still, no one thought much of it. Until her dermatologist suggested a biopsy, just to rule out something rare. That biopsy? It changed everything. Eleanor was diagnosed with cutaneous T-cell lymphoma, a rare form of skin cancer that often presents not with a visible mark, but with a deep itch that doesn't respond to typical treatments. Now, before you panic, this kind of cancer is rare. But that's exactly why we need to talk about it. Because in many cases, it goes undetected for far too long. Here's the science. Your skin isn't just a surface, it's an organ. And when certain types of immune cells in the skin start to grow out of control, they can lead to this form of lymphoma. The result? A strange, persistent itch, especially on areas like the scalp, neck, or upper torso. And often, no rash, no redness, just that odd, invisible discomfort that never seems to end. Now, the most common misconception here is blaming hair products. We've all done it, switched brands, gone fragrance-free, tried natural oils or dandruff treatments. But here's the truth, if that itch lasts more than a few weeks, and you've already ruled out basic skin irritation. If creams and ointments and product changes aren't helping, it's time to see a specialist. Don't wait. Don't scratch and suffer in silence. It's not about jumping to conclusions. It's about honoring what your body is trying to tell you. Your body speaks in whispers long before it ever raises its voice. And sometimes, that whisper is an itch you just can't shake. So, if you or someone you love is dealing with this, don't ignore it. Schedule a visit with a dermatologist. Ask questions. Request a closer look. It might be nothing, but if it's something, catching it early can make all the difference. Now let's take a step back. We've gone on a journey through 4 areas of the body. 4 very specific, very overlooked itchy spots. Not just dry skin. Not just age. But potential red flags, subtle signs, warning lights on the dashboard that too often get ignored. And it's hard, isn't it? Because these symptoms are quiet. They sneak in. They feel like small annoyances, until they're not. But this is the power of awareness. Of paying attention. Of being just a little more curious, a little more cautious, a little more caring, especially as we or our loved ones move through these later chapters of life. Because what if catching that itch early could mean more time, more comfort, more precious moments together? To think that something as small as an itch, something we all experience almost daily, could be a clue that something deeper is going on inside the body. It's even harder when that someone is your spouse, your mother, your father. Someone you've known your whole life, who's always been strong, independent, vibrant. And now you're noticing they scratch the same spot on their leg every evening, or they've been restless from an itch on their back that won't go away. And still, life goes on. They smile. They cook dinner. They say, it's nothing. And you want to believe them. Because it feels easier that way. But deep down, you know something might not be right. It's painful, so deeply painful, to consider that a loved one's health could be slipping through the cracks. Especially when the signs feel so small. So dismissible. We tell ourselves, it's just age. It's just dry skin. It's just a phase. But what if it's not? And here's the truth, that fear you feel, that doubt, it's not weakness. It's love. It's your instinct to protect, to care, to not look away when something doesn't sit right. But here's the shift I want you to hold on to right now. Instead of fear, let's choose awareness. Instead of panic, let's lean into preparedness. Because these little signs, as strange as it sounds, they're actually gifts. They give us a head start. A whisper before the storm. A gentle nudge to act now, before the situation becomes more serious. And that is powerful. If you've noticed any of these itchy spots, on yourself, your partner, your parent, a dear friend, please don't wait. Don't brush it aside. Don't assume it's nothing just because it's common. Write it down. Pay attention to when it happens. What time of day? After what kind of food? With what kind of weather? And then, have the conversation. Reach out to a healthcare provider. Ask the uncomfortable questions. Because those questions, they might just lead to answers that change everything. I want you to remember something, with your whole heart, you are not powerless. You are not too late. And you are not alone. Every day we become more informed, we become more empowered. And with that knowledge, we make space for more comfort. More connection. More time. There is still so much love to give. So many moments left to share. So many laughs, and stories, and handheld walks down the garden path. And yes, even the smallest act of awareness, like noticing a quiet, persistent itch, can lead to more of those moments. You have that power. Right now. And that's something truly beautiful. Let's take a moment to gently revisit what we've learned today. The 4 itchy spots we talked about may seem ordinary at first glance, but in the later years of life, nothing our bodies do is random. First, the lower legs, a place many brush off as just dry skin or winter weather. But if that itch won't quit, it might be your circulation waving a red flag. Then, the palms and soles, those areas we use every day, that connect us to the world. If they're persistently itchy with no visible rash, the liver could be quietly struggling behind the scenes. Next, between the shoulder blades, an odd spot, often ignored. But internal organs, like the gallbladder or liver, sometimes send their distress through the skin, and that itch could be their only way of crying out. And finally, the scalp or neck, where people like Eleanor notice something isn't quite right. We blame shampoo, or stress, or dandruff, but for some, it's a hidden warning of something more serious, like skin lymphoma. These spots may seem harmless. But your body is wise, and especially after 60, it often speaks in whispers. Your job, and mine, is to listen. Now I want to ask you something. Have you or someone close to you ever dealt with one of these persistent itchy areas? Was there a time when something small turned out to be something important? Share your story in the comments. I read them, truly, and your experience could help someone else recognize a sign they've been ignoring. And if this video helped you look at things a little differently, if it made you pause, think, reflect, even for a moment, then I gently invite you to subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Guide. Here, we talk about the little things that matter most. The subtle signs. The overlooked symptoms. The emotional journeys. The quiet acts of love that make a world of difference in someone's final chapters. So please, join our growing family. Let's walk this road together, with wisdom, compassion, and care. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Thank you for being someone who listens, who learns, who cares. Whether you're supporting a parent, a partner, or even preparing for your own graceful aging, you're doing something beautiful. Stay alert. Stay loving. And always, stay wise. I'll see you in the next video.